This is David. Today I'm going to teach you how I do my editing here when I'm doing Airbnb photography, uh, Verbo or Hotel.com photos. Um, First of all, for the most part, I'm using wide angle lenses. In this case, I can tell you that I was doing anything from a 15 millimeter up to 35 millimeter that allows me to get those wide panoramic shots. Anyways, so I wanted to kind of go through my process as I'm putting together these images or working on these images um, for my client. So I want to move over to the next image that I have here. This one right here. As you can see, for one, the lines, which is something that I take a lot of pride, is making sure that the lines are proportional. You may think that this photo already looks proportional as far as the lines straight and stuff like that. They're slightly off, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do this to make sure that everything looks nice and symmetrical, correct? So what I want to do is bring out my guides. Um, so for you guys that don't know, I am using Lightroom, Adobe Lightroom. Adobe Lightroom has a lot of great tools. One great tool that I really enjoy using is the guides. This will allow me to correct the lines on the photographs when taken with lenses that give you a little bit of distortion, right? So this is how I come back and I fix it. One of the things is also making sure that I do have the profiles for those lenses. And in this case, I am using a 15 to 35 Canon L lens, which with a mirrorless camera. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So right here, I like to start with the corners. I also like to start wherever there's contrast. So we can see right here on this side where there's a nice contrast with that kind of dark green, forest green with a white wall, right? So I first want to start with, go ahead and start with the guides, right? And so I start with my first guide and I want to put it right there in that intersection right there. I'm going to go ahead and drag it down to about the end of that night table right there. Now, if you notice, nothing has happened yet. We just have a straight line, right? We're telling our computer that, or we're telling the software, right, that this is a line that we want to follow, right? So we're going to do the same thing here on this other corner or intersection that I call. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line right up to the night table again. So I do that, and as soon as I let go of the button here, or the mouse, I'm sorry, you can see already how the lines are starting to correct themselves. And that shifted a couple of pixels. I don't know if you got to see that. Now, in any case that you feel that the lines are not straight, you can always come back. One of the tricks that I like to do is go back to the crop tool. I know I'm not showing that here, but there is a crop tool on Lightroom, and you can click on there and you can see these guides right here that pop up on the crop tool. You can use that as reference right there. So if you see this line at the end of this night table, you can see that we're off a little bit. See how wide it is here and how short it is here from the edge of that night table to my guide on the crop tool. Anyways, and we want to correct that, and look at this on this area, it just doesn't look right. Anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the guides again, back to our two guides. I'm going to go ahead and correct this. Now the next line, I'm going to go ahead and start from this corner, from the night table, and it seems like it's going to go down. If I were to do this and follow, don't let go of the mouse, keep going. If I were to do that and just follow this line, notice how it doesn't line up with the corner of this nightstand. So what we're going to do, we're kind of going to force it to the other end and let it know that, hey, this is a straight line. The problem here is the lens has some distortion. So we're going to go ahead and click on there from one corner to the next, letting the computer know or the software know that from this end of the night table to the other end of the night table is a straight line. So go ahead and do that, and there you go. The lines are correcting themselves. Now there's one last thing that I like to do. I could either use this line where the curtain pole is at to straighten it out, or I'll just use, just to simplify things, I'll use the corner of the roof and the wall. So I'm going to go ahead and draw another one right across right there. And notice that. Notice how we've done some changes now on this picture already. So I'm going to go ahead and just press enter, make sure that we do have these lines entered. Now the other thing that we can do is that the lines are corrected. However, I feel like the picture itself could be shifted, rotated a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead into my rotate tool and just kind of, just a few degrees, just kind of turn it right where it lines up with everything. And I feel like that's the alignment that I'm looking for this photograph. And I could go back to my crop too and just kind of see that. See how the lines are just lining up a lot nicer now. And you can really tell, like, when you start cropping it in, look at the nightstand right there and the edges of my crop too with the corner of the wall and my crop too. You can already see that lines are pretty proportional. Same thing here with the table that we have. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of open it up again so we can get the whole picture. And there it is right there. We can just crop it. I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and close this right here. And there it is. There is our guide. And there is our picture right there.